Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you another video. All right, so I want to make sure that we talk about a few things in regards to the Los Angeles Lakers, and I just want to run off a few things. First of all, we are now currently in 11th place. We need the Oakland City Thunder to lose to the Suns tomorrow, as well as us beating the Orlando Magic, in order for us to get back into the play-in tournament. If we would have won yesterday's game, we would have been in 6th place. Good thing is that's still how close everything is. So a couple good wins, a couple of losses from some other teams, and we'll be right back in that mix. But it's not looking great, and we know it. Given the fact that we're losing the type of games we're losing, Orlando just beat the Clippers without Kawhi, but they still beat them. And one thing I want to talk about is I think that my perception of Kyrie Irving's salary is probably the wrong way to have spoken about this conversation, because I've looked at him and D'Lo and said that they're both going to be basically making the same amount of money. Now, I honestly think in the end, it probably will pan out that way. But I don't think that the consensus looks at it that way at all. Kyrie Irving is slotted at like $37 million. I think D'Lo's slotted at like 20-something. But I don't think that's where it's going to be when they start signing. And I look at the overall environment that Kyrie Irving is dealing with, and I look at how bad they've wanted to blackball him. I don't know he's going to be able to get the money that he thinks he's going to be able to get based on the level that he's supposed to be getting at the level that he plays at. For one, he's entering his 31, 32, 33, and 34 season, I believe. I think he's 30 years of age right now. So that's going to be working against him. And then you got to look at overall everything that's happened. They're going to try to blackball him to a degree, in my opinion. And if they can't blackball him fully, they're going to try to lowball him with the paper. I see that coming. I hope it doesn't play out that way, but I see it coming. Especially if he wants to play for the Lakers. I don't think it's in the Lakers' best interest, based on his size, to pay him his salary and then let go of all the young players that we've gotten. And I don't think we would. But here's the thing. When I look at D'Lo, I say, okay, there's something else that we can look at there. The Lakers just told everybody that they want to pay him. And in my mind, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but in my mind, that signals to me, if I'm D'Lo, well, I have security in regards to our negotiation process. I can ask for a little more. Maybe push the envelope on another year or a little bit of difference on my options in regards to what choices I'll have at the end of my contract. I don't know that D'Lo's not looking at this situation and saying, maybe I can get more money. Maybe I can raise myself up closer to Kyrie's price, versus Kyrie being blackballed on the other side of his situation. I think it probably comes down to them basically making the same amount of money. That's what I've been thinking without actually articulating it. And so when I say those two players are basically, the competition, they playing for the same bag, I think it's going to come down to couple $1 million difference. I don't think it's going to be no vast $10-12 million like most people think. I don't think so, because I don't believe that Kyrie is going to get the money he thinks he's going to get, and I think D'Lo is probably going to get more money than maybe people are anticipating him getting. I just think that D'Lo is a young guy. He's 25, 26 years of age, coming into his own. So a lot of people are going to want to invest in that. Has the shooting ability and the playmaking ability. If he can get this thing right with the Lakers, even though he's been stinking it up these last couple games, if he can have a strong push down the stretch of the season, and if we can make it into the play-in tournament playoff game and he has a big game, I could see him making more money than people are expecting him to make in the free agency market coming up, especially with the Lakers doing what they're doing right now, telling everybody they want him. So it's like, look, I don't know what the demand will be on the player later on, but the free agency pool is dry. It's dry as hell. So whatever bag Kyrie doesn't take, I'm pretty sure D'Lo will have available to him. So he is the competition. I don't know how many other free agents are at the point guard position this free agency. I don't remember who else is up. I think Fred VanVleet as well. You want to consider him, I think. But like it's not a very supreme free agency pool this upcoming summer. So no matter how you look at Kyrie and D'Lo, they are competing for some of the same money. And so maybe I'm wrong about Kyrie. I hope I am. He can get maximum money You know, even for me though, y'all know I value size so much to where I wouldn't feel comfortable giving Kai maximum money, and that's where it becomes a strange thing for me because I believe in his talent like crazy, which is why I've been so all over the place as it pertains to me wanting D'Lo on my team versus him, because it's like I want him on my squad, but I think D'Lo's height probably helped me a little more in the grand scheme of things. I think it may, and his age may help me more so in the grand scheme of things. You know, they're both not, overly reliable in regards to keeping them on the floor. Health-wise, not overly reliable. So it's like, I don't really know how to look at it. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, people, we all understand he's an amazing player, one of the greatest players ever. But it's like if he's gonna play at this level for the rest of his career, and he has like a good 6-7 years left. If you think Kyrie's gonna play till he's 37 at this level, cool. But you gotta weigh that against D'Lo, who you think he's only 25 and he's still gonna be at this level 5 years from now. He's only gonna be what, 30, 31? Where Kyrie's at now. And taller, so I can have him play different positions and slot him in a different way. So it's like, for me, it's not about just who's the better player. It's about our situation. If Kyrie's going to be at the price level that he's deserving of without all the other stuff, it's too expensive. Based on how else we're constructed with AD and Bron, too expensive. We would need his piece to be bigger, you know what I mean, in order to be able to keep things making sense on the floor, in my opinion. So it's a lot. You don't want to build with 3 max free agents. That's another thing. You would rather D'Lo be slotted at 20 or something like that, so you can make this make more sense with other role players. So that's why, another reason why I'm like, nah, I don't want to bring in Kai at that price or anybody at that price, based on that. So I got all kinds of different things that I have in mind based on the confines of how the cap is constructed. It's not nothing to do with how I would rather build a team. If that's if we didn't have any limits, obviously we can go to the max and put together all times of super talent. It's not, you know what I mean? You have to confine it to make sense. And if you want Kyrie, AD, and Bron's teammates to be good enough and to be able to give them enough, then you got to make sure that they're not taking too much of the cap in order to make that make sense. And so maybe my perception of how much Kyrie is going to contribute should change based on what we're talking about. But when I consider the injury possibilities of all the players involved with our core, I think I weigh the height and the youth of D'Lo against all of what it is I already have, versus bringing in the age of Kyrie Irving and the greatness he may provide versus D'Lo's actual extreme talent as well, which is also gifted in different ways. So it's like, I respect both for their talent, and I know Kyrie's more gifted, but I gotta weigh that against the mileage, weigh that against the possibility of him not being on the floor, and weighing that against his height, which is going to be more of a disadvantage defensively than maybe I'm ready for. And based on height, once again, I'll be able to do more with my lineup because I can put D'Lo at the 3 in some situations, so I won't have to look for one. As to which with Kyrie, I will. If for some, you know what I mean? Size really makes a difference in that regard. When you start talking about what you don't have and where you could put players at. It's why I want Austin Reeves to be on our team so much, because I think we could play him at like 4 positions as he continues to ascend. So it's like, Kyrie, no, you need to put him either at the 1 or the 2. Because if you try to slot him anywhere else, you got problems, which means you better have that elsewhere. And so with our team and the way we're confined and constructed, there are certain issues we have with the forward spot, the center spot. I want versatility, and I know D'Lo can provide me that versatility in theory. Now, I'm not trying to stick him at the 3 too often, but I know he's about 6'4", 6'5", maybe even 6'6". I don't know how tall he is, but I know I can slot him with the length. I feel more comfortable having him out there in different positions if I'm forced to. So that is the exact thought when I'm trying to strategize the Lakers situation versus Kyrie and D'Angelo Russell. I wanted to make it ever so clear what I've had in my head the entire time, because I've never thought it out, or rather articulated it on the camera for everybody to see. It's not as simple as who's better. Nope. It's about how can you construct a champion. And I don't know that we can construct a champion with Kyrie Irving at 36 million or whatever he would be worth, more, maybe more, but I don't see that. It's hard to do um, the way that we're constructed. With the players, yeah, we could win that way, but the role players, we would be bringing in guys that probably wouldn't be good enough. And then it's like, okay, you're leaning on these players to stay healthy. Is that a good bet? Of course not. Not when they're the only ones out there. Of course not. And so that's why you say, nah, if we're trying to build properly, you build properly. If the cap would expand to allow us to do this so that we can have good role players, then cool, we can dream differently. But as long as it's constructed this way, y'all gotta be ever so smart and have as much interchangeable pieces as possible, especially defensive ones. Because I know Kyrie's going to give me all kinds of offensive talent. Boom, 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 offensive. But if my small forward goes down, or if we start having some issues with size and things of that nature, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Or if he goes down with an injury, that kind of thing, it's so much to consider. So for me, it's like whoever's at that spot, we would have to be able to have them make sense on our cap. Very most important, because the last thing we want to do is shove ourselves back down to a 3-man roster and have our role players be like we did to start the season. I don't ever want to go back to that for nothing in the world, not even to put the 3 best players in the game together. I don't ever want to see role players that are that bad, because at the end of the day, you cannot guarantee me those superstars' health. Even if they are durable players, something can go wrong, and if they go down, the team is bad. Just bad. And it's not worth it. It's never worth it. Not when you're going up against depth. Again, the whole field has a bunch of players, and you got 82 games plus playoffs, and you're trying to do this repeatedly. You don't ever want to build that way again. That's a horrible way to build. So I've understood that for a while now. I'm glad the Lakers understand it now, and I don't want to take steps backwards. I don't. So the Lakers need to stay on board, get players that can be afforded to be put together with these superstars if you're going to keep these superstars. If not, assess your thinking to make sense with what it is you're going to be building next. That's what it is. If you're not going to keep Bron and AD, don't be putting pieces that make sense for their core and then will not fit with what it is you're doing, which is something we're going to just have to be cognizant of. I mean, it's going to be tough. So, the Lakers are in the space, like I said, 11th place is our reality as of right now. And I think we got a real tough Orlando team coming in tomorrow. So we're going to have to be on our toes. We did not help ourselves to a 7-footer. And I just don't think that we're schematically in a position to beat the Orlando Magic tomorrow again. Just like I felt against the Pelicans, the Rockets. I didn't necessarily feel that way against Dallas, which is unfortunate because we didn't win the game. But this game we're coming into, Wendell Carter, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero. Those 3 players are really, really going to be coming at you. They're all 7 foot, basically 260 pounds. They all shoot the 3. They all can get out in transition. They could all do a lot of things rebounding the ball. I honestly, when I look at our roster going into tomorrow, I honestly don't think we have the size to defend them. I said that the last time we played them, and they played poorly against us. Really, really poorly. And made me look foolish. But what I was looking at on paper, it was undeniable. And so if the team doesn't come out and perform, and I'm talking about Orlando, then that's okay, because it's the same thing they showed us early in the season. We can just go out there and it won't matter, because they'll be settling for jump shots and not taking advantage of their size and throwing the ball off their foot. They just played horrible in the game and didn't show me none of what it is that I thought I would see based on the upside of the talent on the floor. But that's not necessarily what's going on right now. That's not the Orlando Magic that I saw. I saw a highlight of that game, and I will be doing more homework on that team tomorrow where we'll talk about it. But that's not what's going on out there. Those players are playing well, like they're completely healthy, basically, with the exception of Jonathan Isaac, who went down with yet another injury. Whew. Horrible way to go with him with these injuries, but they haven't had him for very much, so they can't say they miss him. And they have plenty of length, plenty of players, plenty of guards. Everybody is on a string. And I don't know where they are in the playoff hunt. I don't think they're within striking distance of a play-in tournament reach. I don't think so. They have to go on a hell of a winning streak to kind of get in the play-in tournament. But they do have competitive players, just like the Rockets, that can put them in a position to do that. It's not crazy for that team to start getting hot at all. When you look at the high-level talent that they have, just like, as I've mentioned a million times, OKC, Houston Rockets, a lot of other teams that are putting together a bunch of young players. This is yet another one of those, and a very good version of it too. So I'm excited about their future, but unfortunately that does not speak well for what our present is about to be. Coming off of the game that we had, I think Anthony Davis has an opportunity to prove himself once again. We know what level of talent he can bring to the table when he's focused. We also understand that he's fighting back from a foot injury. We also understand he's taking on a lot of mental pressure. He may not be handling all that well right now. But at the same time, if he wants to be a Laker, this is what comes with it. The pressure to win. I respect that he hasn't had a whole lot of footwork on the floor lately, because obviously with him fighting back from injury constantly and this team not practicing very much, it's kind of hard to be in rhythm. Some of the mistakes that he made out there, I think, just come from not playing a lot of basketball as of late, but being asked to play winning, excellent basketball under pressure with that injury. And I just feel like a lot of it is just too much for the guy right now. Maybe other things are happening as well. So who knows what's going on in the man's life, but he hasn't been right for about a half a season to me. Just mentally, he's been here and there, real extreme highs and lows. And so, for him to make up so much of what it is that we do, and for us so much to be leaning on him, it just speaks to what the Lakers have gone, where they've gone wrong, trying to build this way. And of course, we've talked about not being thorough and how that trickles down to how hard things are for the players. So I do believe it starts there. I think as we've said before, the perception of the Lakers being a pressured field, you must win kind of place makes it hard for everybody. I think the front office and the Lakers, but the front office has got to make better decisions or put better people in position to make those decisions so that stuff can trickle down to the team making sense out there and doing things out there that help itself. You know what I mean? The front office needs to help itself so that can trickle down to the players. That's exactly the thought. So, for those who are saying they don't think it's meant to be this season, when you have the type of talent that we have on our team, it can make the impossible happen. But health really matters. Good decision making really matters. Understanding that you cannot disrespect the game of basketball and not respect your opponent, and just respecting the basketball gods, so to speak. All of those things matter. And we have disrespected the basketball gods in so many different ways this season. I can't even tell you how many ways. Just horrible mistakes of neglect, both on and off the court, to be honest with you, as it pertains to the construction of this roster, time management, clock management, stuff like that. Putting people in positions to do things that they can do, can succeed in on all levels. You see the coach has been put in a position to not necessarily be able to do what it is he's being asked to do. The players on the floor have been put on the floor in certain cases, have been asked to do things that they shouldn't, versus players who can really, really help in those areas being asked to sit. It just doesn't help yourself. It's a bad reflection all the way around of itself. And so that's what I'm trying to help everybody see. I've been seeing this for a couple of years now in various different ways, and I just think it starts with Jeanie. I mean, There's so much pressure that comes with this Laker thing. I know that it's not easy, but whoever has it, it really does have to be incumbent upon them to know what it is that they have, and to know that you making whatever decisions or however it goes is going to really truly trickle down to the team, and that is going to be picked apart and analyzed by us diehard fans who pay attention to it, in the media who are going to pay attention to it because it's so very lucrative to talk about the team. And it's just not going to have the same effect as maybe if you did it in Charlotte, or if you did it in Atlanta, or if you did it somewhere else. Not only because of LA, but because of the success that the team has already been able to accomplish. It's not going to be acceptable for anything less than at least attentiveness from within the organization. And you're going to be ripped to shreds. And so, as I've been speaking about the whole time, I just think that's the level, that's the space we're in now, where fans are letting off frustrations to the best of their ability as it pertains to what it is they understand is going wrong. People are blaming players, people blaming coaches, people are blaming organizational decisions, whatever they understand. But at the end of the day, they know the team is not playing well. And the closer they start to pay attention, the more they'll understand that it really does just come from decisions from the top trickling down. That's what it really is. The closer you pay attention, you find out, yeah, the players could do this, but look who's doing what around them. And yeah, the coach is doing that. Now look at seeing who's doing what around him. And it's like, okay, well, everybody's being put in positions where they're not quite able to have balance. That's what it is. Because from the decision space from which they have to make decisions is imbalance in and of itself. You see what I'm saying? It's like, come on, Genie. Hear what I'm saying here every single day. Is it really that simple? But I promise you, when you start to find balance and then make sure that everything around you is balanced, then people can start making decisions from balanced positions. And then everybody else can be making decisions from balanced positions. And then the ball will simply fall more so. And I tell you, free throws being missed, man, that's a mental thing. I don't know nothing about being in the locker room as it pertains to being a basketball player, but I know how it is to be in a locker room as it pertains to being in other areas of life. And sometimes when you're not able to stay focused and stuff like that, it's because something happened that rattled your mind, that event or something. Like, everybody's missing free throws to that degree. Play this game every game. You play this game every day. You play this game all your life. So yeah, there are going to be nights where you don't have it. But the whole team go cold same night when they need not to the most. Something happened. Something that threw the entire team off. You know what I mean? That's what that really tells me. So I just feel like leadership has got to find balance. And it ain't just Genie. I look at LeBron. Because he has a lot of say-so in this situation. He has a lot of sway in regards to what everybody does, including management. And so he's got to find it. While he's out in this injury, he's got to find it. You know what I mean? If he's done with this organization, this fan doesn't blame him. I really don't, even though some of this stuff is your fault. At the end of the day, people haven't done things correctly, and it is what it is. It's taken a long time for things to get right. Injuries have happened, etc. Nobody's without their part in it, but at the end of the day, there's still more work to do. And so I think this team, with these 11 games left, they just got to find a way to close the season strong. Nobody's expecting you to win the championship anymore. Heck, I don't think a lot of people are expecting you to make the playoffs anymore. But the play-in tournament is a good goal to have right now. It is a good goal to have right now. I think we can. It's obtainable based on our winning percentage over these last several games. As much as we've been losing, if we can still manage to win a couple of games here and there, we'll give ourselves a fighting chance. But just like I told folks, Utah doesn't suck. Their bench is not very good, but they're getting more out of those guys than anyone would expect. That's the reality of it. Damian Jones hit another three-point shot tonight. I'm monitoring these things because they really do matter, man. People struggle in this uniform. And yeah, the lights are bright and all of that, but sometimes it's just the imbalance from which people are making bad decisions. You know, these little spots where they are being pressured to make good decisions but don't have everything they need. All of that is why we couldn't get nothing out of certain players. It's why guys didn't play for 5 or 6 games at a time when they're in their prime. Regardless if they don't play that great, you kind of want to get the most out of a guy who's 27, 28. You know what I mean? Like, if he got anything and he's in the NBA, you want to see if he could at least move. It's what I said about Devon Reed. We haven't even seen him. Like, can he go? By the time we figure out the boy can play, it's like 5, 6 years down the road. He's already past his prime or whatever. Like, what are we doing? I just want to see what guys can do. And if they can't do nothing, why are they here? You know what I mean? We need a center. Somebody help me understand why Devon Reed ain't played a single game and we don't have a center on the roster. Wouldn't it make sense to move him and give ourselves an opportunity to get that piece in? If you're not going to use him, I mean, these are common sense things. You go into the Rockets game, no center. It really is the basis for everything. Because then, if you had that player in place, nobody'd be looking at AD demanding that he play, demanding that he override the doctors. I don't even know how to feel about that. I've spoken out of both sides of my mouth because at the end of the day, I know the importance of him not risking his long-term health, and I know the importance of what it is that we've been doing, which put him in this position to not be so healthy in the first place. People are trying to win basketball games. They're trying to make millions of dollars, and you can't do that when you don't play in the big games. The games that matter the most to the winning. So it's like, yeah, if we're going to risk any aspect of our health, whether it be back-to-backs or just playing the NBA at all, you're trying to win games. And the games that you must win are the ones that are most important. So if it happens to end up on a back-to-back in March, well, you did not rested all the other back-to-backs, cool. But don't let this be the game that you don't play. Let that one be the one you risk everything for, because otherwise, what the hell are we doing? And that's going to put me in a position to where I see both sides of it, to where he shouldn't risk his health, but he should. Because it is a duality. Do you care enough about winning or not? If we care more about not risking our health, then freaking retire. Because your health matters. Being able to, play with your grandkids, that matters. But you know what else I know about listening to my granddad and listening to older people talk? They appreciated when they gave their all when they were younger. Because that energy is gone now. They got all the time the rest of the world now. So when it was time for them to do a back-to-back and maybe their leg would have fell off or maybe it didn't, sometimes those old men were proud when they risked it. They gave them something to tell their grandkids. Gave them something to talk about. I don't know what the right thing to do is, because sometimes those dudes did the wrong thing and they went the wrong way. But what I'm saying to you is, it's about what you want. This is your life. This is your life. And so if he had a choice, him deciding not to play or him deciding to play speaks to whether or not he truly wants it. And I think that's what most people are saying. It's a lot of people who would love to risk their health to play in the NBA, bro. Some of them don't have a choice to do so. And, they're not able to. But believe me, they would go out there. Life on the line, everything. They would go out there. For the opportunity to once-in-a-lifetime, situation. A once-in-a-lifetime situation. Nobody else can be Anthony Davis. I can't choose that. No, sir. Whether I want to risk my health or not, I can't choose that. And play for the Lakers? To be needed by the Lakers. I think that's what everybody's saying. It's like, yes, your foot could fall off if you play in this game. It's really serious. But how many of us are ever going to have a chance to play in this game? We may still risk our foot playing on the rec league. But we ain't going to get $100 million to do it. I think something to be said for that. I think there's something really to be said for that. I think it's okay to see the risk and not want him to risk his health versus looking at him and saying, you are you, right? versus nobody else who could ever be who you are. You know that, right? While you choose to either not risk or risk that. You're you. Above all else, while we're not. Who would love to be in your shoes to do what it is that you do? If for no other reason, because we want to help the team win. The team. And everybody else who's ever risked their health to go out there and play that sport. A lot of them risked it. Like I said, it went right for some of them, went wrong for some of them, but I think they did it because not self. Because team. Goal. We're going to win a championship. We together going to win a championship. Or am I going to be all right? Am I going to be able to play next season? All these things matter. My career, But in the years that you're in it, were you able to say you gave it your all? And when it was over, were you proud of your effort? Because once this season's gone, next season comes. We got a whole nother season, but this one was still what it was. This one was still this one right here. Ain't never coming back, but it's always going to be looked at. Did you care about this one here? Because we can talk about next season. Who knows what the situation will be for next season? Next season after that. Next season, maybe you don't have no many seasons after that. This is the one you needed to give your all to. This is the one you were healthy enough to play in. This one. You're here now. Next season, we're saving, okay, maybe next season doesn't give us these opportunities. Maybe next season we have an injury any damn way. Maybe. This is the one we were healthy for, though. So if he didn't have a choice, which I think he didn't have a choice, none of this matters. What I'm saying does not apply, and I'm cool with it not applying because it'll apply to somebody else. But if it did apply, I think it should be listened to. It should be understood, man. Weigh it. I'm not saying I know what's right, but weigh it. You know? It's for the specifics of these type of circumstances when your team's playoff hopes are on the line, when all that you've risked is on the line, when you look to your left and he's playing through injury, look to your right, he's playing through injury, look to your left, he's trying to fight back from injury like everybody's got, you know what I'm saying? It's all on you to lead so that all of it ever would have made sense in the first place. Cool. You couldn't play in the Rockets game. Got it. Dallas. You know what I'm saying? It's just urgency, man. Sometimes you just gotta, I don't even know what it is, how to word it, but sometimes you just gotta tell yourself to get out the way if what you're doing is gonna hurt the team situation. You gotta look in the mirror and say, I gotta step outside of what I normally do so that I can be who this team needs me to be, so that we can be happy at the end of this, so that we can all cheer at the end of this. I can't be my passive self. I can't approach this game the way that my DNA would normally approach this game. I got to literally write a script and read that script if that's what it takes, so that the team can get from me what it's not getting from me, so that we can be happy at the end of this game. You got to call for the ball, AD. You got to call for the ball. You know what I mean? Call for the ball. I don't think it'll go bad if you do. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what people want you to do anyway. I think we're at that point. You got to tell yourself, you know what? I think that's the button I need to press so that we can get where we're going. Let me just line up in the block close to the basket, put my arm up in the air and demand something for 2 or 3 possessions in a row. Even if I don't necessarily want it, let me just do that so that the team can see me do that, because they need that from me. That's the type of button you press so that everybody can see that you're intent on getting the victory. Because at this point, I think that's what we're waiting to see. Can you pretend like you're Shaq for a couple possessions every game, particularly in the fourth quarter when it matters most? Make it make sense and make the shots. If you do that, you're going to win people over, because at the end of the day, that's all we want to see. Clutch basketball plays made by great players winning basketball games. And I don't think that that's too much to ask from Anthony Davis. I really don't. Especially when I see where he's catching the ball at, in places he can't operate. I know he can operate closer to the basket. I know he can draw fouls closer to the basket than 20 and 15 feet away. No. Line him up in the block and allow him an opportunity to get easy, high percentage shots. And that will help us. A D-Lo pick and roll with him is always going to work. We don't run it enough. Him and LeBron James, obviously, when they get back, run the pick and roll more and get AD closer looks at the basket. And he needs to demand those demonstratively. Powell did it. That wasn't in his nature. Where do you think I get the idea from? I've seen others do this. Powell wasn't like that, but he understood he needed to become that, like literally become it, if we were going to win. Powell was kind of passive. He was. But he realized after enough of this, when people kept telling him, "You soft, Powell got soft." After hearing that enough times, he got tired of it. He even told us he got tired of it. And we know what we told him? Do something about it. And you know what he did? Something about it. He started dunking on people. He started screaming. He started setting hard picks. He started pushing. He turned his energy around here. Not necessarily because it came naturally to him, but because he understood if he was going to win and gain our respect the way that he ultimately did, that all that passive stuff that he was prone to do, we were never going to take to it. You gotta wonder, how did we end up taking the Powell? He understood what it meant to be a Laker over time. He figured it out. And by the time it was all over, we accepted him. He accepted us. And look where we're at. 16's up. 2 championships. Respect all the way around. Acceptance for his differences and how he was. We got used to him. We were used to Shaq. People would get angry at Powell for laying the ball up. People would get angry at Powell for tipping the ball in the way that he did. We learned to love it. It was easy to learn to appreciate it, but the first 2 years we were like, man, why wouldn't he jam the ball? We're used to Shaquille. Bring the rim down. Nah, that wasn't Powell's way. He'd do it every once in a while, but the majority of the time, he'd tip the ball up, lay it up. But it was efficient. He wasn't missing. Free throws, making them. Making plays for other people, blocking shots. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. He was doing all the stuff that you want to see AD do. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just want AD to understand that it's nothing that you have to do here that hasn't been done before. Guys had to learn to become Lakers, man. It wasn't like they got it out the gate. Man, a lot of them didn't get it. Over time they understood. The demands are high, but the expectations, it's not without the ability to do it. It's not like we brought people to us that we didn't believe could get it done. We brought the best to us so we know they can do it. Now, again, front office, huge to do with Anthony Davis's tenure here and why it's been so difficult. All of that needs to be looked at and paid attention to. And if all that was in order, he would probably be playing better, etc., including health, having a lot to do with everything. But at the end of the day, his approach, masking these problems, which is his job, as we talked about, he's got to mask a lot of mistakes. It's incumbent upon him while he's healthy to be who it is we need him to be and not be in his feelings about not being that, but just be it. You know what I mean? Like, not be in your feelings about not being it, but be it. Step into it. Don't leave yourself no excuses. That's what I tell Anthony Davis, man. Because at the end of the day, people are on your case because they've seen you play well, not because they never have. If we never seen you play well, we call you a bust and leave you alone. There's a lot of people living that way right now. They just don't have the respect as basketball players. They couldn't play. Anthony Davis ain't like that. People are frustrated with Anthony Davis because we've seen him play better than just about everybody ever. In small spurts. Very, very small spurts. 3-game spurts. Best player ever. 3-game spurts. After that, hurt forever. Come back, kind of into it, depressed. Oh, man. Too blessed to be that way. So that's what I'm saying. Now I'm saying it. I don't pretend to know people. I don't know what Anthony Davis been through, where he's going, what he's been. I don't know. But what I'm saying is on the court, you got to have confidence, man. You got to have confidence. You got to manifest confidence within the desire to win. Within the desire to not lose and see your teammate a loser. I mean, you gotta want it better for the next guy. Good teams really do have that trait too. They want it more for the next guy. Not because they're told they have to pick him up off the floor, but because they dare not want to see their brother down there. Get him up. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Make sure you set the screen for him. Strong. AD. You're supposed to be one of the greatest players in the world. And granted, practice has a lot to do with this. Maybe we just need to run drills. But I don't want to see him get called for another screen foul, man. Especially when I know those are actual fouls. I can't blame the ref for that. You know, there was a screen yesterday that he set and he just rotated a little too quick. It's repetition, man. We just got to run these drills, team. Can't be shying away from practice. And I know that has a lot to do with his health. Again, that's frustrating. He can't practice if he's not healthy, blah, blah, blah. But I do believe if you just start implementing more practice habits, guys will get healthier. I really do believe that. Guys get healthier if they work out more. You get healthier if you stretch more. These are things I just understand in my own life. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a doctor. Hell, what do I know? Nothing. But please, consider it. Do the homework that I haven't done. And if what I'm saying makes sense, apply it, please. More practice. More. Not less. Nobody's mastered the game. None of y'all better than Michael, Kobe, or nothing like that. More, not less. And I say that with respect to LeBron James, who has accomplished more than most, obviously. But I still have to say that to him because there are things he has to get better at, man, if he wants to continue to ascend in this league. And I don't care if it's year 20, if he's about to retire or not. If you're still playing, you want to ascend, you want to get better. And there are things he can get better at. We know what they are. Talked about it too much. Just time management, clock management stuff, size selection stuff. Continuing to assist players as his talent will allow him to continue to seek out opportunities to make those passes true. He tells himself, he prides himself in telling us that he passes first. But it hasn't always translated on the Lakers, man. It hasn't. Sometimes he just be passing up opportunities to pass the players to do other things for himself that doesn't work, just like everybody else out here. And the media, I don't know what it is. It's like a aura thing. It's not okay to talk about the flaws in this game unless you're absolutely narrative. If you're absolute narrative to hate the man, it's like there's no objectivity to his actual game. Either he's the greatest thing in the world, or you hate his guts and you want everything to go wrong except for the stuff that really, really shouldn't be touched. It's just just weird. It's really, really weird. I don't believe in none of that. I just want to see our team win, and he's one of the players on it. So just like anyone else, if his tendencies are off or in some kind of way, and I see that in any way, I'll just give you what I got. Objective to a degree, but I really just want to win as a Laker. So it's like, if he doesn't manage the clock well, or if he's taking bad 3-point shots, then damn it, I'm going to point his out just like I point out Schroeder's. What's the difference? Because, yeah, he's a great player and all of that, but at the end of the day, he's just one of the guys who needs to help us win. So that's it, man. All that other narrative stuff, that's outside stuff. All the media stuff, I'm telling y'all, my mind ain't even wired to care about none of that when I'm talking to this camera. I'm not thinking like that. I want to win. So for me, it's like, yo, that stuff is outside noise. Even if I'm catering to it with my own voice, I'm trying not to. I want to be something totally different. And in regards to this, I want to help Bron. Yo, get better at clock management, bro. Yo, add a ring to your career. You know, that type of stuff. And that's another thing I want to say. I want to articulate this clearly. Just because you're not able to play basketball does not mean you don't study the game. I can't play basketball at all, but I need to study more. There is things that players can do to get better in the knowledge of the game. By watching it, studying it, conversations, and all the other things that you would do in regards to studying any other type of science. Guys got to continue to strengthen their basketball IQ. Regardless of what your position is, coach, player, whatever, scout, we got to continue to seek out ways of learning the game better and opening our minds to new ideas and new concepts of the court. Because at the end of the day, I think, like I said earlier, this game is wrapped up in a certain way of being looked at right now as a matter of fact. We do this and do that, and I just know better. The game has evolved so much over the years, and it's going to continue to evolve from here. And those who are looking to change the game will really determine where it goes next. Not those who continue to be married to the style that is right now, just because nobody's busted open yet. So that's kind of what I want to say, man. I finally run out of time in this particular video, but I appreciate you guys allowing me to speak as I do. I'm really passionate about what I talk about here. I love the fact that I have this outlet to be this nerdy kind of basketball mind. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I just like what we're doing here, and I want to keep it going. And I hope that the Lakers can take from what it is I have to say over the years and apply some of these thoughts, because I've been yapping like this the whole time, man. Ever since we pretty much ended the 2021, 2022 seasons, I've been over here yapping like this. So I want the Lakers to get it right, man. Um, and I truly do believe that we will, if we value player development and become more detail oriented, and of course, just however it looks, get the front office right. So that's what I gotta say. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.